Hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Get the somber
We are
hello.
You get a depressed Mahi voice today, not the chipper, cheery one.
Yeah.
Another emoji is like freaking out over there.
He
I
is
can't even see it.
crying in chat.
Yeah.
We're with you. Trust me, we're with you.
Yeah, we're all pretty sad. We have to say goodbye to a good friend, Archer. Now. Yep. Dang, now I'm gonna cry. DM, do a recap.
There is something disquieting here.
Use the soundboard one more time and I'm disconnecting him.
But we don't have our DM.
Rhythms are DM now.
Yeah, the bot can do a good job. Where is my recap? Oh, there it is. Has to scroll down. Are we recording?
Yes.
Okay. Last time on whatever our name is, minus one person. The party finds themselves in a precarious situation. Surrounded by a small orc army, they are confronted by the mysterious drow woman that Tor saw previously at the Shrine of Shavras that works for the Black Spider. She conveys that they have been looking for the group for some time now. The group actually discovering that their little trek into Conneberry has had some unintended consequences. Seems like maybe some time has passed for the rest of the world while they were gone. She kind of implied that the party's been missing for several weeks. That's what it seemed like, just a few days for the individuals accordingly.
Just one long night.
Yeah, just one. Yeah, exactly. As far as the actual session goes, for you it seemed like one long night, but apparently that is not the case. And unfortunately, that was bad news for the bad guys. They initially recapped. She went over a little bit of the group's achievements, pretty much confirming what has been the thorn in their side since the very beginning, trying to save Gundren, obviously saving Sildar specifically, escaping the goblin ambush, tracking it down to Phandalin and relieving Phandalin of their Red Brand overlords. Unfortunately, not uncovering some secrets, but did get evidence on the Black Spider in general. That's the first time they heard that name accordingly. And then even after surviving a dragon attack, and of course, by that token, saving the town from that said dragon attack as well. They also implied something, I don't know if you guys caught that, but she did mention something to the effect that they had planted that orc quest, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was the mission from the town master, which you guys had heard wasn't who he said he was. So they were hoping that going to the orcs, which were in current civil war, unknowing to you guys, but hoping that the orcs would end up doing their dirty work, since apparently you guys survived the dragon attack. But then you guys got lost on the way, or so they thought. Thus, ending their, well, not ending, but continuing on with their plans, trying to gain the trust of the orc overlords and having them join their party, but more specifically, trying to find the magical MacGuffin, which was the magical map that Archer has been carrying since the entire game. Contains some secret to this forge of spells that the group has only heard about in passing.
And in visions.
And in visions.
Ahaha! I'm working on it.
Now the drow used that power of the shrine supposedly to divine its whereabouts, and at that point you determined that you guys were not only discovered to be alive, but also nearby in the area. giving her enough information not to fall into any traps, and eventually surrounding, and thereby capturing, after some minor resistance, failed distractions from Tor, the group was inevitably captured, stripped of their belongings, all but Archer, who happened to slip into the shadows unnoticed by any that were there. Now, when confronting the group of their missing member, the group attempted to deceive the drow, which she wasn't buying, and went into casting some detect magic. Saw a couple of items in the surrounding area, but more specifically, was trying to target the map. It has some type of essence around it that she was able to detect, thus also blowing Archer's cover. In the opportunity and trying to seize upon that, Archer stepped into the light, with threats trying to burn that map down, realizing it's important. Unfortunately, Pythavan also had a similar a similar reaction to trying to intervene, but didn't get there in time before the drow was quick to not only reclaim the map from Archer, but also subdue him in the process. Which point, though, gave just enough of a distraction for the group to try to reclaim their freedom. They fought back valiantly. Now, of course, giving us the scene where Pythavan takes down an entire group of orcs surrounding her with one thunder bifrost explosion Thor-like move, which was very, very cool. Unfortunately, it was not enough. The group was inevitably overwhelmed. One by one, they started to fall. With a last-ditch effort, Mahi broke free of his you weren't bound yet, but you were about to get there. But he broke free, and he was able to stabilize the unconscious Archer, who was quick to survey the situation and realize you guys are going to die. And quickly persuaded the rest of the group, as well as the drow, to halt their attack, spare the lives of everyone, which the drow agreed to. Party was once again, of course, restrained and then captured. In doing so, the drow also gave the map over to a familiar goblin that you guys had met before. Seemingly had some new digs on, and he seems to have a new job in the organization, which he tried to flaunt accordingly to you. But he's currently in possession of the map, was told to bring it back to the Kragmaw Castle, in hopes that the dwarf might be able to uncover its secrets. Possibly the map in of itself is not necessarily everything that they're looking for. Now, frustrated but somewhat amused by the actions of the group up to this point, the drow played one more final game with them, and they taunted Archer by giving him a health potion, allowing him to heal himself up and duel in an attempt to win the rest of the group's freedom. If Archer could win and defeat the drow, promise was, of course, the rest of them will go free. Archer did a very good job, especially when it came to taking long-range shots, which the drow did not expect. Seeing that her advantage was kind of lost in that point, and Archer was the clear archer in this particular case, she advanced to take one final, kind of somewhat cheap shot. Right before the final moments, Archer takes a look at his party. As his body starts to fall into an unconscious state, with the remaining energy he has left, he takes one last stab at the drow, right in her weak spot that had been opened prior to the battle. And in a violent rage, the drow takes both her shadow blade and her poison blade into an X kind of cross pattern and lobs off the head of Archer, as the rest of the party watches in horror. Tor, in her grief, shrieks and breaks free, and Misty steps to try to...
Did not shriek, actually. That was Pyth.
I think you both pretty much screamed, but yeah, but Tor Misty stepped after the fact, and tried to finish the drow off with a quick little magical attack. Wasn't enough to do so, but it did get pretty close. Unfortunately, she was quickly subdued again by the surrounding orcs, the drow limping away from this unexpected attack that nearly ended her victory. While no intention now of letting the group go, was just about to give the order to have everybody executed, when in a timely, non-DMing way, the the other group from Wyvern Tor, the other part of the Orc Civil War, basically, came in to investigate all the disturbance that they were hearing. Axe Spider approaches, aware that the drow is the one that he was told about previously by the group, and also in command of the White Dragon that had taken their home and drove them out. He confronted her. In her weakened state, she wasn't really in a good position to negotiate, and so she backed up and allowed Grundle, which was the orc upstart that apparently may have been some of the cause of this little civil rift between this tribe. He tried to negotiate the terms, implied to Axe Spider about the benefits of joining with the Black Spider, the power they were promised, their ability to be able to even maybe overtake Neverwinter and reclaim some of their lost glory instead of hiding in the mountains from which they came. Axe Spider did not seem to take this with much thought as he quickly lobbed off Grendel's head as an answer. While the rest of the orcs were enraged and a battle ensued, the civil war erupted, and this gave the group the opportunity to once again escape. While doing so, there was a couple of falls, but eventually the group was able to escape. Tor was able to actually also reclaim Archer's cloak in the process, before they noticed a dragon-like being descending upon the inner circle and quickly dispatching maybe what was left of the fighting army. They didn't stick around to see the rest of the aftermath of this battle, and while they quickly dodged stragglers along the way, they pretty much ran for several hours until they finally came to a good spot to rest and hide. Sounds of battle have all waned into the horizons, and definitely the group is tired, been robbed, beaten, lost of their member, their grief that they haven't quite caught up to yet. But as they take a few moments to rest, and just a few hours before dawn, actually, we come to this exhausted state.
We did actually take our long rest last session.
Well, we were going to jump into it, but we didn't have the heart to go over role-playing. But you guys can skip that part if you want to do so. It is now your turn.
It's not necessarily skipping, as they all just passed out.
Pretty much. I'll say for this purpose, you guys are.
Because I already hit the long rest button. It's already
Yeah, me too.
Pipe has not long rested.
I'm going to let the long rest go, as long as we get the 8 hours. But I want everyone to make a Constitution saving throw, and this will determine whether it was restful.
Yep. That's okay.
Pipe just straight up didn't sleep, so...
make one anyways. See if you manage to be fine anyways.
Yeah, if you don't take a long rest.
Oh yeah, I didn't do the long rest thing. I didn't take one. Let's see. Mine was 17.
Okay.
Mine's a 21 actually.
Okay.
19.
Okay.
Mine's not gonna be good. Hold on. I think 15, but I need to see my numbers and it's not loading. Yep, 15.
15. Okay. All right. You all pass. So no exhaustion points. Well, dadgum. All right. Go ahead, and everyone go ahead, take their long rest, and do your full HPs and your spell slots and any of your charges on weapons and items that you have left, at least.
I didn't sleep, so...
Except for Python, who chooses not to sleep. Now, Python, if you're going to be consciously staying awake while everyone else is pretty much knocked out. Is there something you would like to do in the interim? There's only a few hours before it actually becomes daylight. The rest of you pretty much don't care. You're just going to sleep through most of the morning into the lunch hour.
Fife is just going to sit and spin the platinum ring around her finger.
Okay. For hours and hours on end.
Yeah, her hand is like raw by the end of the night, I guess, by morning.
Kind of debating whether to make you to run some kind of madness check that you're not psychotic at the end of this, but your racial thing gives you that kind of ability. You don't really need to rest, sleep. At least not for your mental state. All right. Well, if that is what you all are doing, then I'll say that at this point, the sun is pretty much high into the sky. It is cloudy, though, so there's not much sunlight. Does seem to be dark and dreary, fitting the rest of the mood accordingly. Passively, nothing comes in terms of any perceptions at this point. Ivan is clearly not paid attention to the surrounding areas, more the fact that she's been spinning a ring around like a top in her hand. But nothing has
She's
happened.
like spinning it like it's on her finger and she's spinning it just
Yeah, like spinning it around on her finger. I gotcha. So nothing happens though. We see and hear no signs as of right now, but it is about lunchtime.
Quick
when it
thing.
starts to stir.
The last session, you said when we got to there, you said we were near where we camped last time, near the
Yes.
pond. Are we pretty much camped right there again?
Yes, I'll say for the purpose of familiarity and because it's off the beaten path, and this part of the map is where you've kind of left the open and rocky hill plain aspect to where it's starting to become closer to Conaberry, and which is right on the outskirts of Neverwinter Woods. So there are some foresty areas here. So you're not within sight of the open road, which is where you guys want to be. Because at some point, whoever did win this battle will probably be still in this area. Not to mention what was flying around there too.
Well, if we're near the pond, he's just gonna get up, walk to the pond, and actually take off his shirt and his chainmail because he hasn't taken it off like for however long they've been with each other, and just freshens himself up.
All right.
Target.
Go
ahead.
Once Pyth sees that Mahi is up, she's just gonna kind of like close her eyes and go into trance for as long as she can before someone bothers her.
When Tor gets up, she just kind of takes the bag that she had taken from Archer and opens it up to pull out the journal.
Toby is just gonna sit upright when he gets up, like Indian style, cross-legged, with his like tapping his fingers together, waiting for someone to tell him what to do next.
Also make point that while rest is had, but you all are definitely hungry as well.
Yes, Toby is starving.
None of you have rations at this point.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to do a survival check, that will determine if you can go out and try to procure some food. Nuts, berries, tree bark, etc.
Was I
I mean,
up my crossbow?
I could do the survival check, I guess, after.
All right.
I don't
Could,
think you did. I think you just picked up your rapier.
Oh, no, Mahi's busy. So.
Alright, I'll do the survival check real quick. That's 21.
Mountain Man provides.
Catch that, DM.
Sorry, DM distracted. What was that?
I rolled 21 on the survival.
21. Okay, perfect. That I'd say with that you being a wilderness guy as you are, and you're used to this kind of lifestyle. You haven't had a lot of friends, and so losing someone, while that part is somewhat new to you, the aspect of just surviving and getting on is not necessarily new to you. So you can scramble enough, like I say, nuts, berries, some surrounding area things that you can get. It's not well, but it is going to be doable to survive. So for that purpose, you have also sparing everybody from taking any negative exhaustion points.
Yay. Slowly hands it out to everyone.
He takes it.
Pyth is like sleeping, so
Tucks it under Pipe's hand gently. When she wakes up, she'll see it.
Slipping berries under her hand one by one.
Very gently, not to not interrupt her. Should I do a stealth check on that?
Go
sleight
ahead.
of hand.
Sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand, there you go.
specifically, yeah.
Alright, it's the same points. It's 19.
Hey, good job.
Well, she's not up.
Giant man is gentle.
He's got magic hands. Jazz hands. All right. Tor, if you're reading the journal, do you see what Archer's posted?
Yes.
Okay.
And so Tor sits there and she kind of just looks over the first page. It's the only thing written in the journal. She just kind of rubs her hand over it, doesn't really say anything, just looks it over. She doesn't have anything to write with.
Okay.
She has none of her.
All right. So this is knowledge Tor will have, but the rest of you don't know. You're all doing your own thing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Mahi, can I have you do an investigation roll for me?
Yes.
You're still in the pond, yeah?
Correct. Ugh. 8.
Okay. You notice nothing.
Good
Never
job.
mind. Continue stoking in your pond of ponds.
He freshens himself up, actually takes his chainmail and kind of dips the chainmail in the water, get all the blood and, yeah, I guess everything off his armor. Puts everything back on, walks up and just like, well, I guess we could hold like a memorial or something. I don't know, just say some nice things, just.
Tavi chokes on a berry as he says that.
Yeah. I don't think anyone has talked since the night previously, so this will be breaking the silence.
Tor just kind of points over at Python, who's still got her eyes closed.
So am I gonna wake her up? Tavi says.
I think we should just let her rest. He's
Tor,
gonna walk.
Is Tor pretending to rest, or are you legit?
Oh, Tor is sitting there wide open. Python's the one who's trancing
yeah.
for as long as she
Sorry.
can.
Python, yeah. Python, are you actively trancing, or are you pretending
Yeah.
to be trance? Okay.
Like I said, I'm trancing for as long as I can.
Okay. I was gonna have to say roll deception to see if anyone realizes that you're not.
That she was fake. She was
No,
faking
she's
it. Yeah.
legit.
Okay.
If she was faking it, she would have opened her eyes when Tavi touched her.
Alrighty then. Continue on. Go ahead, Mahi. You were saying something.
I guess anybody needs me or she wakes up, just come get me. Mahi's gonna walk away, not too far, so they can still see him, but they can't hear him. And I don't know if anybody's going to do anything else, but I am going to do something.
I will do one thing. I'm going to reach into the bag of tricks and pull out one of the little fuzzy balls. Just kind of let it drop to the ground. Oh God, don't be something weird.
Giant
Oh
elk.
dear God. It is.
Oh my god.
I'm not even kidding.
Oh my word. That's awesome, though. It's
Tor doesn't know
elk.
what to do with herself. She's just playing with things.
I wish I
There
could
went
roll
the
that
moon.
low when I roll for healing.
I know. If every time I have to roll a d8 for damage, it's like 4.
Though
No,
actually,
D8 for my bag of tricks. I know.
not to metagame, guys, but I just give you some transportation modes. Technically, I think you can all fit on a giant elk.
Put
Well,
Pyth
I
on the
have a
giant
giant-
elk, let her sleep while everyone else walks.
I have a giant elk, and I basically just pull what Archer and I did in the death house, and I just curl up against the elk and chill.
So, but while this happens, accordingly, your campsite is completely destroyed because this thing just pops out in the middle of it.
We didn't really
have
have
much
much
of
of
a
a campsite.
We don't really have a campsite because we have no items.
Yeah, you have
so.
no items. Yeah, so it's mostly just
Just
the
us.
little, the ground area. But Python, you're definitely going to be non-trance because you've got elk butt in your face.
Well, I did it like behind me. I didn't do it in the middle of us.
It's a giant elk.
Yeah, it's behind me though.
It's pretty much all in that area.
The noise.
If
the
anything,
pop
you
noise.
get up and you have to kind of dodge it just so that you don't get trampled.
I mean, if Tor knows she can summon a giant elk, she's not going to do it.
He-
until we can.
The elk kind of looks around, and I mean, he's not necessarily taller than some of the trees in this area, but definitely his antlers are kind of getting all mixed up within the branches, and so he's a little confused. He's wondering why he keeps being summoned to this plane existence in small, confined spaces. But as he sees Tor, then he somewhat settles down, and then kind of plops down next to her. Tor snuggles. Mahi, I don't think you're necessarily close enough to witness
No,
this.
no,
Still
again,
doing your own
I-
thing. And Tavi, you're choking on berries?
Only when he said that.
Okay.
That one time.
This is probably relevant also. The next set of berries as you turn and see this huge elk in the middle of nowhere. You start to get ready for battle, but then you remember, oh, never mind. It's Tor.
Yes,
It's Alfred.
he's one of us.
It's a common
So
sight
quick.
nowadays, so nothing phases you anymore.
Tavi sees Tor snuggling with Elkfred, and he tries to snuggle too on the other side.
On the other side of Elkfred.
Yes.
Okay, so not next to Tor.
No.
So, let me go to Mahi real quick here. Let's see what he's doing.
Mahi's not doing any warrior stance. He's actually on both of his knees. He just kind of has his head down, his hands on his knees. He's praying in Celestial. I heard you say something to me. I just wanted to come back to see if you'd say anything else. It'd be nice if we could have some direction. We're in a tough spot. Just lost a good friend.
Roll perception for me.
Hey guys, I'm gonna miss God. Like I'm just that dumb.
Tries to talk to God but isn't paying attention for the answer.
God is standing right next to him.
Oh man. That's
And Mahi's just like.
I, did not
I rolled a
see.
13. It could be better. It could have been worse.
What's your passive?
My pass is
Like
11.
It's 11? Okay. It's better than your passive, at least.
Yeah.
As you kind of say it, you kind of close your eyes, and then you wait a few minutes, and you kind of poke one eye open. Look
Yeah.
around a little bit. You don't hear anything or sense anything. The pond is pretty still. No ripples. Not a lot of animal activity either, even though this is somewhat of a kind of a woodsy area, but it's opening up, not dense like the Neverwinter Woods is. Accordingly, that's like Mirkwood levels of woods. So this one's mostly, there's definitely lots of spaces in between trees, but you're not hearing birds or squirrels or, I mean, it's really eerily quiet.
Probably because God's standing right behind me and I don't see it, and all the other animals are like, "Oh shoot!" Yeah, I didn't figure you'd say anything. Or do. Well, were you gonna say something, Dio?
Go ahead.
I don't really know how to roleplay this. Mahi is re-swearing his oath.
Okay.
Celestial. But as he's doing so, he actually takes his sword, he kind of grabs his sword and he cuts his own hand a little bit, just lets the blood drip on the ground, then says in common, "Death will not be in vain. I will avenge everyone who is responsible for this."
Alright, you do take 1 point of slashing damage.
That was my chair.
As you do, though, you also go ahead and roll a wisdom saving throw for me.
You gonna fight yourself?
It's funny how curses work, isn't it?
I don't think that's how that works. But okay.
It's gonna be how it works.
They fail.
What is it?
10.
Okay. That's nothing to be ashamed of. A 10 is average.
An average doesn't help me with the long sword of vengeance.
No. Alrighty, sir.
I have to think that's not how it works.
Here, let me read the description. Whenever you take damage in combat, you must attack the creature that damaged you. So it doesn't specify. I don't think that's what it was intended to do, but it's not specified technically.
Yeah, we're gonna play with this here, so give me a second.
From what I see, the longsword of vengeance is more of like a, how dare that enemy hurt me, I must kill him, but it wouldn't be, oh my word, I hurt myself, I must kill myself. Just seems like it would be more of a like vengeful, kind of childish revenge.
Don't worry, I'm not having you kill yourself. Here is what happens, though. As you do so and you claim your oath, as you clench your claws around your open wound and the blood seeps out. You did take your point of damage for that purpose, yes?
Yes, I did.
Okay. All right. Your sword, again, the hilt starts to burn, and you sense this, redness coming into your eyes again. The world around you kind of fades into a black version of kind of a gray, black and white. It's like those old Japanese movies. It's got the black and white filter on the world at this point. And as you look across into the pond, you see this kind of a wispy figure approaching.
Does it look like the man I have been seeing every time I go into this mode with the longsword of vengeance?
Go ahead and roll perception.
20.
A 20?
Not a natural 20, but totals up to
Yeah.
a 20.
It's good enough. Yeah.
Perception? Oh, my
yeah,
bad.
you-
I
you-
read the wrong stat. 16. My bad.
Okay, that's still good enough. Actually, that'll still win. You perceive this ghostly figure as it begins to approach and materialize. It's hovering over the pond, but as it ends up stepping onto dry land and walking towards your direction at this point, it starts to take form. This is this ghostly knight figure that you had seen when you first claimed your sword. In his hand, he has an identical copy of your same sword, except his looks all ghostly and wispy like. There is a redness in his eyes, though. That matches, of course, if you can see yourself.
Yeah.
And I need you to roll initiative for me.
Do we see this happening, or is it just, well, not me,
Nope.
obviously.
Well, he's not even necessarily near you guys. He stepped away.
He's still.
I mean, they can see me. They
Yeah,
can't
he's-
hear me.
I mean, if you were to look and perceive with a roll, you could
He
possibly spot him, but
He specifically said that he was staying in line of sight of the group.
Yeah, because I don't want. They just can't hear me. They can.
Yeah, and I'm not even looking at him right now because I'm cuddling with Tor and Alfred.
But
Right,
still,
I
We
mean,
can't actually see that's happening.
none of you are in a
That's the thing.
position
We
to
can
see
see
it.
him.
Right.
that's what
We
I
can
was
see him,
asking.
but this is a mental plane
Yep.
thing.
Damn.
That's
you
what
We
I
have
was
to hear
asking.
something.
Well, yeah,
We have to kind
that's
of
what
hear
it is.
something.
See, depends on how you look at it. If you have a 2 and then you add a 0 to it, that makes a 20. But if you have a 2 and you add a
No,
0 to it,
zero
it still
and
makes
then
it a 2.
I think it's
Yeah.
a 2.
It's a 2.
It's a 2. Okay. I think it's just initiative. There's only a 50-50 chance against one other person, right?
Well, I'm pretty sure he's
Gotta
gonna
go
He
hit.
might.
Yeah, he might. No, he's gonna go first.
Yeah.
Kinda-
So as he's approaching, he's like, again.
Without any words, and as you say that, he pulls the sword back and tries to make a uneventful strike against you. That's an 8 to hit.
No.
Oh man, that was because that wasn't an 8. That was less than an 8. But it was an 8 total. All right. So, seeing this and I mean feeling what you're feeling, your instincts almost take over, and your body just basically swerves over to the left as the blade kind of just passes through, and you kind of hear an almost like a wailing kind of sound coming from it as it slices the air, but no damage or pain other than your claw arm is a little hurt from your own damage. That will be its turn.
Wouldn't suggest trying to hurt the person that is currently carrying your sorry butt around. And then I'm gonna attack him.
Okay.
20. Let me add this up. 15.
15 will hit.
In damage.
10 damage. Okay.
Hmm.
As you go ahead and swing through your sword, as it connects, you don't feel resistance. It passes through, but strangely enough, the sword lights up, and you can watch almost as like sparks kind of coming through it as it slices across the apparition. It kind of parts for a few moments and then takes a few moments to recollect itself. But you notice the vision in front of you. The man winces. It doesn't make an audible sound, but you see a wincing as your sword passes through. You suspect that if this was not a non-magical sword, that it probably wouldn't have done anything. But he looks at you, and still faceless with just almost a red stare beneath the helm, he pulls the sword back and lunges at you into your chest with a sword drawn, and that is an 18 to hit, which I believe does now.
Yep.
And so you feel the sword kind of go through, and there's just a dark coldness seep into your soul. Slightly, though, since that's only 2 points of necrotic damage. Oh my god. He pulls the sword out. And you get a sense that that this thing in front of you is not necessarily all here, per se. Like, it's almost like it's struggling with trying to manifest itself more than it can actually interact with its surroundings. But it is now your turn.
He's just gonna growl, spit on the ground, and he's gonna hit him.
Okay. Like, I'm
Not with the crit one.
with a crit one, natural one. All right. So, were you doing like an unarmed strike, or were you hitting him with a sword?
I was hitting him with my sword.
Okay.
As I'm trying to swing, we go. Fighting each other's not gonna help us get our vengeance. Now stop it. As I'm hitting him.
You tried to rush through and kind of do a similar thrust attack that you kind of just watched him do. Unfortunately, the ghost parries your attack with a sword, and as the two swords collide, there's a burning sensation that boils down into your arm and into your other hand, and it's almost as if the wound has, from the other hand, actually has grew a little bit. Take 1 more point of damage. The ghost backs up as he readies for another attack. This time I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Not enough, I can guarantee that. 7.
7 does not work. All of a sudden, the ghost himself lunges or hovers. He starts to, where previously he's been kind of, you can see, kind of walking on the ground, though he's not leaving footprints, but he has the action of trying to interact with the ground. But his feet kind of dissipate a little bit, and the rest of him hovers slightly a few inches above, and with kind of a whooshing effect, his presence goes into your body. You kind of watch. It's like one of those scary movies where they just sort of like fly at you at the camera. It's kind of that same aspect. It's just, and he goes inside of you. For a few moments, you feel weird and cold. And then the moment fades. And you take 3 necrotic damage.
When you say the moment fades, you mean I'm back in this world? Or
not necessarily. I mean, you still are kind of fighting through a kind of a weird filter at this point. But
okay.
But I mean, the moment in terms of the weirdness that you're feeling right now,
okay, so he
just kind of went through you, and
I'm still in my sword world, but I don't see this.
Yeah, at this moment you don't see him.
I was just gonna rub his head a little bit and go, look, don't worry. And does like a fake smile as he's talking to air in front of him. You're gonna be a lot happier because I'm starting to agree with you. Now can you please get your sorry butt out of my chest?
There's no response.
I swear the sword acts more like a child than I do. That's saying something. He's
No
just
response.
I just gonna look around because thing's gone. He's in weird world. He doesn't quite know what to do or how to react.
You have a slight headache for a few moments of time as you wince and put your claw to your forehead. And as you opened your eyes, the filter is gone. You've seen color brought back into the world. You feel the breeze of the wind from the distance blowing through the trees. And I need you to make a perception roll now, but with advantage.
Awesome. DM is trying so hard to help me see God.
Oh my god.
DM, I'm so sorry. The first one was a crit one, and the second one was an 8.
An 8? Okay.
8. DM has lowered DC to 5 because it's God. DM's like, I'm so sick and tired of this. DC lowered.
Alright.
Come on, dice. Please don't hate me today. Please roll good.
Okie dokie. Roll 1. That is a 7. Roll 2. That is an 18. Okay. So, as you start to kind of take a sense of your surroundings, and it's like your senses kind of return to you, kind of were in a dulled, weird type of bizarro world, basically, for a slight moment, and that last encounter is kind of really messed with your head. As you start to feel the grips of reality around you, there is a sharp pain that hits you from the back, and I need you to take. Are you serious? Okay, well, these guys are rolling freaking low. That is a 4 points of slashing damage.
Mhm.
As you turn around, 2 orcs have come out of the woods with swords drawn. One just as you turn, one totally missing and whiffing through you, so you see the glint of metal just flash right by your muzzle, and then the other one stabs you in the corner as you turn around and take that damage. You now see 2 orcs that look somewhat battle-worn. At this point in time, by the way,
Some saving throw.
this no saving throws, but this is something that is not in his head, which means that the rest of you can perceive this if you were all paying attention.
Tor is probably paying enough attention to notice that. So, she gets up. She walks past Python and almost pushes her to get her attention. Just almost slaps her to get her attention, and then basically runs over towards Mahi and the orcs. So I would like to also enter initiative, is what I'm saying.
Alrighty. So, Mahi, it's technically your turn next, and then we'll allow a tour entrance.
So, are you just gonna? Where did he hit me? Question.
He got you. One tried to get you, missed as you kind of turned, and that was just the orc being silly. But the other one kind of got you in the side as you were turning.
It's just gonna grab his side, gonna clench his fist and smiles. You caught me in a bad mood, And I'm going to enjoy this so much. And I'm going to hit the guy that hit me.
And anything that you do against the orc at this point, you will have advantage on.
Nice.
Interesting
Well, I
enough,
just-
you are feeling a resurgence of energy.
19.
Also, I'll have you notice that I did not have you roll another wisdom saving throw for this.
Right, I noticed that, which I wasn't going to continue asking why not, because I didn't want to change your mind. But-
There's in-game reasons.
Yep. He's probably wondering why, but at the moment, doesn't.
Please hit them hard.
Yeah,
Make this more anticlimactic than it needs to be.
that is 11
Prove a
damage. 11 damage. If that doesn't kill him,
Well, what was the hit, by the way?
19.
19 hits for sure, yep. And 11 points of damage. Do you want to add anything to that?
If he
Anything.
is not, if that doesn't look like a killing blow, I'm divine smiting him.
There you go.
Which would be.
Don't even worry about it. How do you want to do this?
Awesome. I'm going to shove it up into his stomach, like completely up into his chest, where my blade's probably going up into his throat. I'm just gonna give it a nice twist, and then divine smite, which is just gonna burn everything from the inside. And Mahi's just angry, smiling, and then he's gonna yank his sword out and then push him to the ground, and just kind of bang on his chest and roar.
All right.
Then he looks at the other orc. And then he starts smiling at the other orc.
All right. The other orc, and at this point in time, the orc watching his friend get eviscerated and evaporated by the crazy dragonborn with the glowing sword at this point. Which, by the way, your sword is viscerally glowing at this point, like a white, bright, hot light. He looks at you and then looks off into the distance. See some figures that are running in your direction. He takes another kind of double look at you, and then takes off in the other direction. Dash move 60 feet, totally into the woods. Now
Does that give me
ends
opportunity
turn.
attack because he's leaving my main
Absolutely,
range?
you do. With advantage.
Mm-hmm. Wait. 18.
18 hits.
13 damage.
13. Go ahead. How do you want to do that?
Yes. No, you don't. And I'm just kind of like jump up and stab him straight through the back of the neck and onto the throat. Oh, no, actually, I'm gonna stab him into the chest and then bring him closer. Whisper into his ear. I'll show you the justice of the grave. And then I'm gonna push him on the ground again, just like I did to the other orc.
Limp body falls accordingly. Taurus, you enter at this point. Don't have to worry about rolling initiative. But this is the violence description that you see as you are aware of sounds of battle from afar.
I look over the scene. I'm gonna just kind of nod.
In the background, you hear a. And you kind of see as some of the top of the trees kind of parts a little bit, and you see kind of a big elk head sticking out, kind of like wondering where why'd she leave?
Pyth is like
It's my mommy.
starting to get up and like pull out her sword, doesn't really know what's going on, just knows that she was awoken very suddenly.
You kind of just watch Tor kind of take off.
Yeah.
I would say that Tavi followed because
Yeah.
Clearly
the
spelled
elf
on
got
ground.
up and Tor got up, and I heard Mahi roar, and it's like, yo, what's going on? So I'm pretty much there too.
So yeah,
With the
so you all come into this and kind of see the aftermath accordingly. You're all standing next to the pond at this point.
Giving Mahi a thumbs up and a nod at the mess he left behind.
He nods. Just kind of cleans his blade. And then sheathes the sword. Mahi's actually going to search the bodies. For
All right, roll
anything.
investigation for me.
11.
11. Okay. There you can tell a little bit here. As kind of mentioned, these orcs seem somewhat already kind of weakened. They not that you didn't necessarily do pretty good shots anyway, but they went down much quicker than you'd suspect. Their armor looks like it's already seen a lot, and it was makeshift to begin with, so it's definitely worthless at this point. The only things that you find among them that are redeemable are, it's of course, money. And so as far as that, in one pocket you do catch about 3 gold coins.
Awesome.
And in the other one, where is my character sheet? Okay. And in the other one, you find 50 silver.
Ooh.
Wow.
Of course, it's lesser than the gold, but 50
Yeah,
silver
Still
and
5
about
gold.
10 copper pieces.
I think I'm the richest one at this point.
Probably. You haven't actually bought anything.
What of their
Pike
weapons?
bought healing potions. Uh-huh.
Their
Yes.
weapons look like simple short swords. They are pretty scarred up. There is a lot of blood. One of them actually looks like has, well, without the investigation, that's all you see.
Yeah.
But yeah, they look like they've seen battle, but you can also kind of tell they're not worth picking up at this point.
Mahi takes the gold, puts it in his pouch, spits on the ground, and he's going to walk over to the group. So, they had some gold, some silver, and some copper, not much, but probably could get some provisions if we head to Phandalin or something like that.
Pike looks very tired.
We have to go
Fair.
back.
Phandalin?
No. Back up the hill.
Where we almost all died.
Yeah, there!
Makes. Alright, but we have to do it carefully. Don't know if they're still there or not, and we need to we need to tread carefully. But I understand why, and I agree.
I don't know if we want to go back up there just yet. So
I'm going back. I'm going to find Archer, and we're going to bury him.
What do you think, Pyth?
yeah, where's Python for that?
Okay with this?
If there's orcs here, there could be more on the way. I don't know that they've cleared out. I don't know that they're not waiting for us to come back, if there's even a body there.
Let's think. Would Archer want us to go back in harm's way to find his body?
Would Archer want to be a banshee? Would Archer want to be like the children who stayed as ghosts for hundreds of years in a house because they were never properly laid to rest? Think that's what Archer wants?
Look, this is what we can do. We can start heading in that direction. Any sign of trouble we're not prepared for, We might have to turn around, but the least we can do for Archer is try.
Archer would do it for us.
Would.
Alright. Let's get moving then.
As we're moving, I'm gonna lay on hands myself
Okay.
and heal me 10 damage. So I currently have 35 hit points.
I'm still looking a little rough.
How rough?
I took a short rest, so I'm at 20 out of 27. I'm okay, but
So he does look a little
visibly
hurt.
tired and injured.
He does walk up. Let me help you with that. He kind of puts his hand on your shoulder and gives you 5 HP.
I kind of nods to him.
Python, roll a perception check for me.
DM, I did use a divine smite back there, correct?
Yes,
So,
you did.
on spell slot. Okay.
That's a 19.
19. So one thing you notice is as Mahi kind of comes over and he heals you as you're watching, there is a kind of a very open crack in his armor that you're seeing on his side.
As Mahi is healing Pyth is also just going to kind of reach up and put her hand over the crack and cast Mending.
Okay.
Mahi kind of flinches. Mahi kind of
I
flinches.
forgot about that. She
Ahaha.
just spares you from losing an AC point, my friend.
Thank you, Pyth.
Why I
Mahi
took
kind of flinches a little bit, like, well, what is she doing? But then realizes what you're doing and then just lets you do it. Like, oh, okay. Like, wait, what? Oh, okay, never mind.
To be fair, you have, and Mahi, from your perspective here, you have seen a lot of battle in this armor. So, yeah, and you have recently been wailed on multiple times. So,
Yeah.
durability is coming into play, folks.
Good thing.
Which might be nullified by. Yeah, I know. I was about to say that's Python's going to spare you guys from the gold costs. So,
Tavi pumps his arms like, yeah.
well done for defeating the money sink in this game.
God, I hate games with durability mechanics. It's like my least favorite mechanic.
Hey, I've not being super fascist about it, but
yeah,
it's nice
I remember
to throw it in every once in a while.
stupid Mabinogi constantly breaking my stuff.
We're definitely not going to be like monitoring it, but like I said, every so often.
Republic.
Yeah, I just had like war flashbacks though
Same,
to when we would play
about that.
Mabinogi.
I was thinking of Breath of the Wild. Anyway, so
Anyways,
Pyth is just kind of like glance over Mahi and like any other like little cracks and dings, he's just gonna go ahead and mend.
All right.
Technically, I still have 1 HP down, so you might actually still see a cut or scar on my hand.
Well, she's mending your armor, dude.
What happened?
That's your body.
Okay.
She'll assume that came from yesterday, honestly. She's like, I don't know what. You fought orcs. I was.
I don't know. We were all kind of in our own little area. I was unconscious. I don't know. Tor does kind of like gesture to Elkfrid. We may not have to walk.
Alfred kind of nods.
I'm assuming he's still sitting. Yeah.
No, he's
You
standing.
mean-
He's standing.
He's
Just
set up to follow you.
kind of poking through
Okay,
the tree branches.
I'm gonna motion for him to sit because I can't climb up that high.
All right, so he kind of plops down, and the rest of you kind of feel a very
You mean we
visceral
can ride him?
thump.
And I get up on his back first.
Oh.
Pyth's kind of like look the elk over for a long second and then just follow Tor's lead.
Me and Tavi, I'm gonna stare at Mahi like, are we gonna
I
make
just
it
kind
up
of
there?
pat his stomach a little bit.
Is the elk big enough to carry us all?
The elk is 15 by 15.
Especially
he's
because we have
pretty
no gear
big.
at this point. We are much lighter than we were.
You are much lighter, yeah.
Yeah, I'm normal. Yeah, we're
Mine and Tavi, though. Yeah.
we're still
Not yet,
big, but
I
he
mean,
can. But he can
Tavi
take
is
us.
huge.
He
The
can
giant
take
elk
us.
has a +4 to strength, so he's a 19.
He can take us.
I'm sure he can. His carrying capacity is probably going to be over 1,000 pounds for sure.
Oh well, then he's got us.
Yeah, if the little ox or whatever horses were pulling us before
Mm-hmm.
can take us, then
Yeah, it is a giant elk, not a regular elk. A regular elk, technically, Python and Tor could probably ride single-handedly, but
not
He
us.
gets on the elk.
yeah, no, you guys wouldn't be able to ride.
Kind of slowly, like, kind of like, okay, let's see if this... Like, he just kind of very cautiously getting on, but he gets on.
Interesting enough, the elk does legit understand Common and Elvish. He just can't speak.
Yeah. Literally, you can talk to it.
But what he does do, which none of the rest of you can understand, that's what it is for. He does speak giant elk. That is apparently a language.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
but
if
I
my
speak
cats
giant.
comprehend languages, I would be able to
You could-
understand him.
He'd be Sven.
Ow. It's amazing.
He's
Tavi's
Sven
a,
during that one music rock part of Frozen 2.
Oh. Exactly.
nice. Tavi's gonna get on, but face the other direction, not forward, but looking back.
All right. So you're all pretty much scale up onto the elk, and with Tavi being the tail end of it, you do see the elk struggle a little bit as it kind of he kind of looks back, and you can see his countenance doesn't look as elk friendly as previously, but with a few grunts, he does manage to go ahead and lift up. You're pretty high up, like I said. I mean, you're kind of tree level at this point. Not quite necessarily see over the canopies, but yeah, you're higher than is normal. The air feels crisper, briefer. You all are feeling some strong wind presence, though. You're seeing that the cloudy sky is definitely, the sunlight's kind of pretty much obscured at this point. It's pure dark kind of gray. A storm is brewing. Python, you feel a little tingle down the back of your neck. But the elk turns and kind of looks back at Tor.
Yeah, I point in the direction we had come from the night before.
All right, so you head towards the Wyvern Tor. All right. So after a few hours, Tor, I'll go ahead and have you roll perception since you were the front reins person.
Out of curiosity.
17.
There are no reins.
Out of curiosity, if I continue to trance while on the back of the elk, can I get my long rest in?
She's not doing anything.
You won't get enough time. You
That's
need
fair.
a little bit more than that. But yeah, that's a little weird. But it's needless to say, of course, you guys are all on his bare back at this point. There's no saddle. And to that point, please everyone roll a dexterity, not a saving throw. Just do a dexterity check for me.
Okay, by the way, my perception was a 17.
Okay, good.
I have no dex.
Oh, for
Oh, hold on. Let's see.
My dex is an 11.
My dex is 12.
Oh no, mine is 5.
We all
Sorry,
just
Tavi.
fall off.
Yeah, so for the most part, there are at
It's
least
bumpy.
at least you can get about 10 or 15 minutes into it before basically Python slides off to the left, and Tavi falls off the back trying to hold on to the tail as he gets dragged through the rocks. Yeah, one by one, you all pretty much fall off at some point. We'll say for the sake of expediting this portion that it just takes you longer to get to the same part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
We
fair.
have to slow down a
So-
little bit.
It does. It takes a few moments as y'all kind of have to remount, and you do this a few times, especially with that dexterity. Perception wise, though, everything seems fairly clear. The road looks heavily trafficked. I mean, you can just even tell passively, even though you're not a tracker. But I mean, there are a ton of. I mean, you can see the signs of marching that have gone through this area. For the most part, I'll have you guys go ahead and also roll a stealth check for me, and we'll take an average.
I'm gonna cast. Who wants a guidance? I'm gonna give.
Whoever's got the disadvantage.
I'm gonna give Mahi a
That's
guidance
a,
for
that's
stealth.
a. Oh no!
So
I already rolled it.
add a D4 to it. Son of a-
I had a 1 on
Okay.
that stealth check, which is really
17.
It's
Thank
an
you,
average,
Kai.
but that's
it would be a 3, but it was a crit 1.
I have,
A 10.
13.
17.
17, 13, 10, crit 1.
I mean, we're
Okay.
really not being stealthy. We're on the back of an elk.
Well, we have a giant elk. Wait, should
Right.
Elkfred roll for stealth? Should I roll for him?
Yes. Go ahead and roll for him too.
At 20 to save.
Oh, Elkfred rolled fantastic. Hold on, I gotta see. Does he have any bonuses to stealth? Probably not.
No, he has no bonus, but he doesn't have any disadvantage to it either. So just be a straight
18.
check. 18. Good.
The elk rolled the best out of us.
Please, please.
So yeah, so for the I'd say that you gotta save you. I'll say for the purposes of that, you guys are definitely a scene watching, 4 humanoid figures on the back of a giant elk
That's
through
fair.
the woods. As you leave the wooded section, though, accordingly, you're way more open. But you guys do kind of take a different route than from whence you came. You don't keep on to the main paths.
We're just gonna barge back in here.
So I'll say that this takes probably maybe another hour. I'm gonna say maybe at this point you probably could do your long rest.
Can I?
Probably gonna spend at least about a 3-hour roundabout journey before you come up from the back side of where it
So-
starts.
Okay,
For those that have
that
to
on
sleep
top of-
longer than that many hours, can we take a short rest because we're on the back of an elk?
Well, why?
Somebody expended a spell slot.
Yeah, I would say with your dexterity rolls and so forth, that's probably not going to happen. You guys are too busy
You know that's
mounting and
fair.
remounting.
I am not
Yeah.
resting while I'm riding on this elk.
This is not a restful experience,
If you have rolled a nat 20, maybe.
nor is it consistent of any measure whatsoever. At the very least, though, the elk somewhat doesn't subject you to any further exhaustions, so that's a good thing. You do
I'll be right back. I
eventually.
need to go to the bathroom.
Okay. You do eventually come into a huge army of orcs and you all die.
No.
Again.